Good evening, I'm Ian Hannamansing. Tonight, help is on the way as fires threaten more people across British Columbia.
Obviously, lots of bombers and helicopters overhead.
More evacuation orders come down as investigators enter Lytton to find out more about what happened there. And
so I did not expect this response.
The province-wide effort to help those who fled the flames.
Our marriage started there. Our families started there.
Also tonight, coming into the country is about to get a little easier.
It takes a lot of pressure off.
But not for everyone. What you need to know about tomorrow's new loosened rules. A bumpy takeoff for one Canadian airline as the industry starts to take off again.
It said your wait time is greater than 12 hours.
Complaints about rescheduled flights and no refunds. And it ain't over till it's over. Habs fans hold out hope on the eve of Game 4. This is The National. On this Sunday night, there are about 200 wildfires burning in British Columbia, and with forests so dry after that record-breaking heat wave baked the province last week, the fear is that number will just keep climbing. But today there was some good news for the exhausted fire crews trying to battle back these flames. Help is on the way from other provinces and from the military. Among the largest and most concerning fires are the Sparks Lake and McKay Creek blazes. They and other fires have already forced many people from their homes, including around Cache Creek, Lillooet, 100 Mile House, and of course Lytton. And today the list of evacuation orders in the area kept growing. Anita Bath is keeping an eye on all of this tonight. And Anita, this really is one crisis layered on top of another.
It is, Ian. This heat dome may have moved on, but there are still threats and evacuation orders in place as temperatures remain in the high 30s in some parts of this province. The hot, dry and windy conditions are still a perfect combination to fuel wildfires, and now smoke has become a big problem. The air quality in the epicenter of BC's wildfire fight has deteriorated fast.
Yeah, we're outside and the kids are in the pool.
It's so bad, Francie Hayward left town and went to Kelowna.
It's just not worth it being inside with 2 kids and a dog for a week. That's not so fun.
Neither is the intensity of being in a fire zone.
Lots of bombers and helicopters overhead. And just the unknown of what's going to happen is a little bit unnerving.
With fires burning all around the city, hundreds of people in rural parts have been ordered to leave, but not everyone is going.
If you want your stuff to survive the fire, you've got to stay and look after your property, or else who knows what'll happen.
Bob Haywood doesn't want to lose his cattle farm, so he and his family have even signed waivers with the province, choosing to stay and protect their animals.
It's a waiver that takes liability away from the government.
But if the fire hits,
often not much that you can do to remove the cattle from harm's way. Kathleen and I each have a suitcase packed in case.
In BC's Caribou region, crews will be doing controlled burns at the Deca Lake wildfire.
Really looking at very dry temperatures out there. You see that reflected in the fire danger map.
But among all the destruction,
I'm glad to see you. Did you have a holiday?
Yeah, good to see you.
A bit of relief in the province's southern interior.
Last one, everyone.
Residents of a Castlegar long-term care facility are returning home after an evacuation order.
It's hard for them to understand why these moves are taking place. This is their home here.
A home they hope they won't have to leave again. But with 83,000 hectares already burned as of today, there's fear of what the rest of the summer will bring.
And Anita, as we've said, help is coming for this wildfire fight. What are the details at this point?
The Canadian Armed Forces is sending air support. It will be available until at least July 19th. We're also expecting around 100 firefighting resources from out of province to get here tomorrow. They'll be tested for COVID and then sent to the interior. And in terms of relief and help for evacuees, the Red Cross has set up a fund saying the best way to help is through financial donations, not goods.
Thanks, Anita. On the minds of everyone in the fire zones right now is what happened to Lytton on Wednesday night. Flames moved in fast and burned much of the village to the ground in minutes. And tonight, there's still so many unanswered questions. Katie Nicholson is near a Boston bar tonight. That's just south of Lytton. And Katie, what are the conditions there this evening?
Well, Ian, I'm sure you can tell there's a lot of smoke here moving behind me. That's all coming through the valley. RCMP officers we spoke to just by Lytton told us this morning this whole area was clear. That smoke is a new development, and that is one of the reasons many people here are still on high alert, even as they search for answers. A line of emergency vehicles heading into Lytton, hoping to answer a long list of questions. Chief among them, the cause of Wednesday's devastating fire. They're searching locations and speaking to witnesses. So far, no conclusions. Police say they're looking at all possibilities. There are other questions, too, about how the emergency was handled and the province's priorities.
We are in a crisis where people are dying. We are in a crisis where people have no idea where their loved ones are.
Chief Matt Pascoe is the head of the Kapmoops Nation Tribal Council. He says the province called him about the safety of his cattle before they contacted him about the safety of band members.
If you're going to ask me what sickens me, it's that.
In a statement, BC's Public Safety Minister acknowledged early communication didn't live up to expectations and said the ministry is taking steps to improve response in the future. Another question left on the list. What exactly is left of Lytton?
There was nothing left downtown. There's maybe 3 houses standing downtown, ours and another couple.
Austin Doyle knows because he stayed behind to save his house.
The sprinkler went on top of the roof right away. We started soaking everything down.
Not far away, the Scuppa Indian Band is doing what it can to help its neighbors.
Cook for people. Hold space for people, and that's just what you do, right? And so we've had firefighters come in to use the bathroom, get water, whatever. We had people here the first day come and then keep going.
An uncertainty unlikely to clear until the smoke does.
Katie, we know the BC Coroner Service has confirmed the deaths of 2 people in that Lytton fire. What are police saying about the possibility of more?
Well, RCMP said today, as far as they're concerned, there are no other missing persons cases connected to this fire here in Lytton or in surrounding communities. But of course, this is an evolving situation, and it's important to keep in mind hundreds of people have been displaced this weekend because of fires. To that end, the province is urging anyone who has been served an evacuation notice to please register online with the province as an evacuee so you can be accounted for. People will know you are safe.
Okay. Katie, thank you.
You're welcome.
So hundreds displaced and dozens of people rallying to help those who have lost everything. A little later in the show, we'll tell you what some are doing in the province to help those who are out of their homes. In Surfside, Florida tonight, officials are planning to bring down the remainder of that condo that partially collapsed 11 days ago. And until then, the search to find more than 100 people is on hold. The standing part of the tower has been a hazard from the beginning.
Naturally, if we can bring this building down safely in the footprint that we can predict, that is our very best path forward.
The planned demolition fast-tracked because of this. Tropical storm Elsa already crashing through the Caribbean. And while a direct hit on Surfside in the coming days is unlikely,
we are looking at, of course, storm surge. We're looking at heavy rainfall, flash flooding. There could be isolated tornadoes.
And we pray for limited impacts of the storm in Surfside so that we can continue unimpeded.
Officials say workers can resume their search soon after the dust clears. 24 bodies have been recovered, 121 people still missing, and that includes 4 Canadians. Toronto police officers lined up today to pay their respects to a veteran colleague killed on duty late last week. A convoy escorted the body of Constable Jeffrey Northrup as it was taken from the coroner's office to a funeral home. Many who watched the procession were residents of the neighborhood.
I think just standing here shows them the support we would like to give.
Police say Northrup was intentionally hit by a vehicle while responding to a call in the parking garage near Toronto City Hall. A 31-year-old man has been charged with first-degree murder. As COVID-19 cases continue to decline, Canada is taking its first big step to more open travel. Starting Monday, returning Canadians or permanent residents won't need to book an expensive stay at a quarantine hotel. But there are conditions. Travelers must be fully vaccinated. They still need a negative test ahead of arrival. And that's just for starters. As Talia Ricci explains, this is not a return to the pre-pandemic norm.
Next in line. The easing of travel restrictions in Canada is landing well at the airport.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have traveled. It just makes traveling a lot easier. It takes a lot of pressure off.
Starting Monday, Canadians and permanent residents fully vaccinated with a Health Canada-approved vaccine will be able to skip the 14-day quarantine. But kids under 12 who can't be vaccinated yet will not. Vaccinated air travelers will be exempt from the government-approved quarantine hotels. But the Canada Border Services Agency says eligibility to come into the country hasn't changed.
What's important is that people realize we are actually not changing any of the restrictions on who can enter the country. Discretionary, non-essential restrictions remain in place.
Use ArriveCan by signing in online.
The government says travelers must log their vaccination details and the results of a negative COVID-19 test on the ArriveCan app or web portal. It's important to note the government is releasing a new version of this app on July 5th.
And it's critical that people go and download the new application because it will have now the capability of capturing your dosage and your vaccination record.
While vacationing like it's 2019 may be a ways away, travelers say after 16 months of rigid rules, the changes bring some relief.
I think we've put in our time in regards to doing everything we need to do, so I think we deserve this now.
As for when the U.S.-Canada border opens to vaccinated Americans heading here, on Friday, the Prime Minister repeated his message: be patient.
We have to get up over 75% fully vaccinated, up into the 80s fully vaccinated. I know people are impatient to suddenly get back to normal, but we're not there yet.
Currently, travel restrictions between Canada and the U.S. are set to expire on July 21st, but the Prime Minister said it's too soon to say how the rules will evolve by then. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
And as Talia mentioned, the Prime Minister said on Friday he might want to have up to 80% of Canadians fully vaccinated before lifting restrictions at the Canada-U.S. border. Right now, only 34% of Canadians 12 and up are fully vaccinated. That's according to CBC News research. In the United States, that number is higher. But Canada's overall vaccine uptake is wider. 78% of eligible Canadians have had at least one dose, so some level of protection. In the United States, that figure is only 64.3%. President Joe Biden had counted on reaching 70% in order to declare on this 4th of July celebration independence from the virus. Despite the shortfall, Biden isn't straying from that message. Farah Morale looks at the potential consequences.
A 4th of July barbecue supersized. 1,000 essential workers and military personnel invited to a party on the south lawn of the White House.
Today, all across this nation, we can say with confidence, America is coming back together.
With COVID-19 cases and death rates declining in the United States and restrictions largely now lifted, Americans have been traveling en masse to celebrate Independence Day at near pre-pandemic levels.
We have come all the way from Texas and we plan to find a good spot to watch the fireworks.
The Biden administration called today a celebration of independence from COVID-19.
Doesn't this day, the 4th of July, feel like the revolution it celebrates? A breaking away from the despair we all felt for so long.
But the U.S. has missed a key target: to vaccinate 70% of the population with at least one dose by today.
I love the celebratory part, but I am cautious about the messaging.
This infectious diseases physician says the rise of the Delta variant poses a threat to large parts of the U.S. South, where vaccination rates are much lower.
We still have a lot of work to do, And yes, I am a little bit concerned that some people will hear this message superficially and then just relax and throw caution to the winds.
A Washington Post ABC survey released today found 3 in 10 Americans haven't been vaccinated and definitely or probably won't get it, meaning there's plenty more work to do convincing Americans to roll up their sleeves. For tonight, the focus in Washington is celebrating what people had to overcome this past year and freedom from months of isolation, even if there are uncertain times ahead. Farah Morali, CBC News, Washington.
Tonight, one city's 4th of July celebration was a bit quieter than planned because of this. Fireworks were set off by accident, creating a daytime spectacle. Employees of the fireworks company were slightly injured, but said they didn't need to go to hospital. No one else was hurt because of a safe zone around the fireworks, but the noise sent some people scurrying. Hundreds of victims in at least 17 countries, including Canada, have been hit by a ransomware attack. Computers compromised until victims pay up. And as Austin Grabish shows us, criminals managed it by hacking just one company.
Cash registers locked out, forcing the closure of hundreds of grocery stores in Sweden.
We're starting to see more and more of what we call supply chain attacks, where a company that serves other companies to do their IT is attacked, and then it percolates down.
Supporting remote employees brings a whole new set of challenges.
The hit on Miami-based IT manager Kaseya was discovered Friday. The firm provides services for local IT companies that service small and medium-sized businesses. Kaseya says less than 60 of its clients are compromised, but researchers believe there are victims in at least 17 countries, including Canada, where it has about 3,000 customers.
We believe that our exposure in Canada is minimal.
Cybersecurity experts say the REvil ransomware syndicate appears to be behind the attack. The group hit the world's largest meat company in May and got $11 million worth of cryptocurrency in ransom. That same month, another ransomware attack shut down the Colonial Pipeline, sending Americans scrambling to fill up amid a gas shortage. President Joe Biden says he's directed U.S. intelligence to probe this latest attack.
The initial thinking was it was not the Russian government, but we're not sure yet.
Cybersecurity experts say businesses need to prepare. They recommend offline backups, not allowing outsiders access to IT systems, and purchasing cyber liability insurance.
You need to assume that you're going to get targeted and that you're going to get attacked by ransomware and by cyber extortionists in general.
Targeted businesses were sent messages asking for ransom payments, some in the tens of thousands, others in the millions. Austin Grabish, CBC News, Winnipeg.
As travel restrictions ease, many Canadians are finally booking those long-awaited flights. But WestJet seems to be having a bumpy takeoff. After being the first airline in Canada to offer refunds for canceled flights during COVID, some of its customers say that is not what's happening now. Diane Buckner explains.
Cheney Couture wants to take her children to visit her sister in Edmonton. She booked a direct flight from Montreal with WestJet, but 2 weeks later she was notified the family had to take 2 flights and connect through Toronto.
If it was just maybe me and my husband, maybe we could have been accommodated, but with kids it was absolutely not.
She asked for a refund and was told that wasn't possible.
The only thing they could do was to give me a WestJet credit for a future flight.
When you called customer service, it said your wait time is greater than 12 hours.
Derek Muller had a similar situation when he bought a ticket for his mother to fly direct from Vancouver to visit him in Los Angeles.
The alternative itinerary that they booked us on was the day before at 6 a.m. flying via Calgary. So it was like an additional 3 hours.
Dozens of customers across Canada are complaining on social media about poor service from WestJet.
That was maybe understandable a year ago when we were in the throes of COVID.
This consumer advocate says Canada's Passenger Bill of Rights says WestJet is required to offer refunds for flights it chooses to cancel.
It's up to the senior management at the carriers as well as the government to make clear to everybody in the industry what the rules of the game are now.
WestJet declined an interview request, but apologized to customers in this statement to CBC, saying it is optimistic that these schedule modifications will become less frequent. And after hearing from CBC News, the airline now says it will give refunds to both Cheney Couture and Derek Muller.
It's sad that it took this to get reimbursed. The people that don't say anything, do they get reimbursed?
As for all the other dissatisfied customers, no word on whether they'll get their money back. Diane Buckner, CBC News, Toronto.
The Montreal Canadiens head into tomorrow's Game 4 of the Stanley Cup final, down 3 games against the Tampa Bay Lightning. An insurmountable challenge? Well, not to a city full of hockey fans keeping the faith. Here's Simon Nakaneshny.
In the heart of Montreal's Hochelaga Maisonneuve neighborhood, a makeshift shrine has sprung up. A scrawled inscription asks Saint Maurice, Rocket Richard, for help in bringing the cup home to Montreal. Appeals to the ghosts haven't helped the Canadiens much lately, but despite being 1 game away from losing the final, fans continue to believe.
Why not? They got nothing to lose anyway.
Oui, j'ai d'espoir. J'ai d'espoir. Je vais la regarder, ça c'est sûr.
Superfan Kid Mercury used to summon the ghosts at the old Forum with this shell, and also used a trumpet to rally the crowds during the Habs Cup winning runs in '86 and '93. The team brought him back again this playoff run for Game 6 against the Golden Knights.
I was there for the overtime win against Vegas, and I had tears rolling down, streaming down my face.
And while he's not expecting a comeback in this series, he's not ruling one out either.
Who knows? The hockey gods are, we're the Montreal Canadiens, 24 Stanley Cups. We got ghosts, the ghosts of the past, Maybe they'll put together a big zap.
Canadiens defenseman Jeff Petrie says the players still believe in each other.
You're not going to win 4 games by winning 1 tomorrow. Our goal is to win tomorrow's game.
There will only be 3,500 fans inside the Bell Centre because of COVID restrictions. There will likely be thousands more outside. Montreal police say they'll be out here too to make sure, win or lose, things don't turn violent. Just a few blocks away at Hurley's Irish Pub, owner Bill Hurley says even if the Habs do fall tomorrow night, it's been a magical run for a city that needed a boost.
Yes, it's a hard road, but hey, we're going to try. And if we don't, hey, all the best to them anyway. They were great.
Until Tampa Bay wins again, the Canadiens are still alive, and so is the dream.
Yeah! Go Habs, go!
Simon Nakaneshny, CBC News, Montreal.
Next on the National, dramatic scenes from the Philippines after a military plane crashed. What we know about what happened and how dozens managed to survive. Plus, Liz Cheney was one of the few Republicans to take a stand against Donald Trump and his claims of election fraud. But she's angered the base in her own state.
How could she not support Donald Trump?
Coming up, the fight for the future of the GOP and...
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
A real-life superhero. A Montreal man comes to the rescue of bullied children.
Oh my God, are you Batman?
We'll be right back. Soldiers, police, and firefighters searched for survivors in a Japanese resort town after a mudslide swept through on Saturday. At least 2 people are confirmed dead. About 20 others are missing. A wall of mud raced down a mountainside after days of heavy rain. A nearby land development may have played a role. At least 45 people are dead after a Philippines military transport crashed in the southern part of the country, but dozens were pulled alive from the burning wreckage. A large column of black smoke could be seen shortly after the crash. The plane was carrying more than 90 people, mostly troops. At least 3 people on the ground were also killed. The flight was coming from the southern island of Mindanao, and it was bound for the provincial airport at Jolo. Military officials say it missed the runway, and when it tried to regain altitude, it crashed. Remarkably, a number of soldiers on board were seen jumping out of the plane. Other survivors were pulled from the wreckage. Many had just finished basic training and were among reinforcements sent to the southern Philippines to combat Islamist militants. Officials say there was no sign the aircraft had been attacked. Pope Francis is recovering in a Rome hospital tonight after an operation on his large intestine. The Vatican described it as scheduled surgery. The Pope suffers from intestinal problems which can cause digestive issues and stomach pain. Francis is 84 years old. This is his first known hospitalization since becoming Pope in 2013. A 10th floor papal suite is kept available at the facility when needed. Former U.S. President Donald Trump rallied fans in Florida this weekend.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Thank you.
His Republican Party is now split between those who support the former president and those who see his legacy as a liability. The outcome of this bitter split will define U.S. politics for some time, and the state of Wyoming is ground zero. The lone representative for this deeply conservative state is Liz Cheney, and she now leads the anti-Trump movement, much to the anger of the Republican base. Katie Simpson went to Wyoming to find out what they have to say.
Deep in the heart of Trump country, a place where guns, God, and freedom rule, some of the locals, especially veterans, feel betrayed by the congresswoman representing them in Washington. What do you make of Liz Cheney?
She's a piece of work.
Carl Milner lost his leg in combat and likes to blow off steam at his gun range. He didn't like Cheney to begin with, since he says she's not done enough for vets, an opinion that soured further when she took a stand against former President Donald Trump.
Everywhere you look, there's a Donald Trump flag. Everywhere. How could she not support Donald Trump and claim she's supporting the people of Wyoming?
Much like Wyoming's rugged terrain, voters here can be unforgiving. Once popular, Cheney is now a deeply polarizing figure after becoming a leading critic of Trump, calling out his lies about election fraud, and voting to impeach him for his role in the January 6th Capitol attack.
75% of the people in this state voted for Donald Trump. And so she's basically insulting the rest of us by telling us she knows better than we do.
Well, I like her, and I think that she did the right thing with the Trump, and I hope she wins.
What do you make of how controversial she is here now?
I think she's right, and men hate to hear that.
Cheney's public criticism of Trump and the lie that the election was stolen has triggered so much backlash here that nearly half a dozen candidates have already launched campaigns to try to replace her as the Republican nominee next year. It's a battle for the future direction of the party, a test of Trump's influence and the ongoing impact of that lie.
I could put a murderer on death row with less circumstantial evidence than we have to prove that there was massive fraud in that election. And we need to deal with that.
Darren Smith is an attorney who is running against Cheney. He's using Trump's popular yet untrue claims as part of his campaign. You truly believe that the election was stolen?
I believe that there was massive fraud in this election.
In Cheyenne, the state capital, it has the feel and look of a time gone by, and party loyalties run deep.
As a Republican, she really just what you would call turncoat. You know, she turned against her president, she turned against her country.
But Cheyenne is also home to some of the state's more progressive voters. During the lunch rush at a food truck stop, it's easier to find some support for Cheney.
I'm a unicorn. I'm a Democrat in Wyoming.
Heather Blakely is a teacher, and her opinion of Cheney has completely changed.
And then when she stood up for the Constitution, she gained all of my respect. And I stand behind her 100% now as a Democrat in Wyoming, because she did what was right.
Will you vote for her in the next election?
I will.
Winning over unicorns will only get Cheney so far. This is a state where conservative views are the norm, and that base is angry. As Cheney navigates an unfamiliar political wilderness, a country watches to see if she'll survive. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Buffalo, Wyoming.
Next on The National, we return to our top story. As wildfires rage across BC, the drive to help those who have lost everything.
Our marriage started there. Our families started there.
The overwhelming response as a province opens its doors to strangers.
The village of Lytton itself was engulfed in flames.
We got home. We had about 15 minutes to grab whatever we could and leave.
One of the many harrowing tales of escape from Lytton, BC that we heard on Wednesday night as the news broke. Bernice Abbott told us about her escape from the village as the flames closed in. That story, grab what you can and get out, so similar for so many. Now, many wildfire evacuees are in neighboring communities with nothing but the clothes on their backs. It is a time of anxiety and loss for those affected, but many of them have been met with a surge of generosity from their host communities and others, Canadians who just want to help. Joel Ballard shows us how a community near Vancouver is stepping up.
A steady line of cars packed with donations.
So I did not expect this response.
Chief Grace George and members of the Katzie First Nation just wanted to help. To support those whose lives have been devastated by the wildfires. Their donation drive took on a life of its own.
I initially had a 10-foot U-Haul truck that we were going to be using, and as the response built, we had community members come forward to volunteer with big, larger trailers.
Black ones, empty ones, thank you.
People have been showing up with food, clothes, toys, you name it.
It's emotionally overwhelming. You know, a good overwhelming, those are the best kind. But it's really beautiful to see people rally together, and, you know, really our intention is to let the people who are struggling the most right now know that they're not alone.
All these donations will be shipped to donation centres around BC, whichever one has the greatest need. Around the Fraser Valley and Canyon, visitor centres have also become donation depots, like in Hope.
We had 3 big moving trucks, 4 pickups, and we convoyed up, and it was just unreal. We pulled up to Tukwayom Village and we filled the Longhouse and the community centre up at Boston Bar.
But on-the-ground donation drives are just one way people have rallied. Financial donations continue to roll in online.
Just felt pretty helpless knowing a lot of our friends and people we consider family were caught up in the middle of this catastrophe.
So they started an online fundraiser. The Austins lived in Lytton for years before moving back out east.
Some of the most formative years of our adulthood happened in that town. Our marriage started there. Our families started there. Our friends' families started there.
A quick scroll of all the online fundraisers show hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations. A way for a village that lost everything and its people to one day rebuild. Joel Ballard, CBC News, Katzie.
Well, Kamloops is one of the communities that is receiving evacuees, and people there have rallied as well, raising money and handing out gift cards to those who have been displaced. Rob Lee and his family have been a big part of that effort. Hi, Rob.
Hello. How are you, Ian?
How did things go today?
They went really good. We received some more donations this morning, so we got out on the ground and brought the family out there, and we were able to meet with some of the people down at the Kamloops Powwow Center, as well as people at the Kamloops ESS Center.
How did you get involved in all of this? Why did you step forward?
You know, when you hear people's homes burning, you obviously want to do what you can. Initially, I thought I would provide clothing, and you know, we have a family of 3 kids, so that was my first instinct. But going down there, I saw that they were overrun with so many donations that they couldn't sort them, and then also they were having trouble distributing hotel vouchers. So we talked to people, and you know, we observed, and we realized that the biggest issue they had was just fuel to be able to get from where they're going to the designated hotels, and also to keep their vehicles running. You know, it's 40 degrees out here, so to get some AC in their vehicles, and yeah, so we saw that as a priority, and people have been super grateful.
And here you have people who jumped into their cars with virtually no notice, not a lot of time to grab stuff. I assume a lot of basic necessities are things they needed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've worked together with some members of the local church who got some feminine hygiene products and whatnot, just specific things that people were asking for when we were out distributing. It was just, you know, some people were asking for some 10W30 oil for their car, and then other people needed other things. So we just did what we could with what we had.
And describe for me the state of mind of the people who did leave their homes and have ended up in Kamloops. How are they doing?
I don't think that any of the people have really processed a lot of it. I mean, just a lot of frustration, and not so much with the system and what's happening, but more so just desperation. I think is probably the better word. You can just see that you're losing everything. People are trying to communicate via Facebook to get a hold of loved ones, because the members of Lytton, if they lived on the north side of the valley, they were asked to leave north, and the opposite side obviously leaving south. So a lot of families were split up, and just a sort of very chaotic, I would say. So I think this little bit that we could do is pretty good.
For the people who are watching from across the country, what message do you have for them?
I didn't set out to be providing any messages, but I think boots on the ground, right? Let's try to help out people where we can. I think if you're fortunate enough to not be affected by these tragedies, then it's the least we can do to jump in and try to help out.
One of the things I find interesting, Rob, with your situation is none of us really knows, or most of us don't know, how to help, how we'll help. And it sounds like you just knew you wanted to help, and you've just kind of learned what to do as it's gone along.
Yeah, I mean, people in desperate scenarios are super forthcoming. Everybody's been honest about how much it helps, what they needed to help them out. There's no illusion here. People were very clear about what they needed, and we did the best we can to try to help them.
Well, a commendable thing that you and the community are involved in. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
And in Toronto, people have been stepping forward to help those most affected by the pandemic.
I don't have to go and bake. I don't want to bake.
Coming up, we revisit small fridges making a big difference. Stay with us. Welcome back. There is hope that the darkest days of the pandemic are behind us, but many Canadians are now struggling to rebuild their lives in its wake. Tonight, we take another look at a story we first brought you this spring. Nick Purdon showing us how community fridges are making a big impact on the lives of vulnerable people in Toronto.
Nothing in there, Mama. I just come to see what I can get. Something to eat for supper. Or if I get some toothpastes and toothbrush, I'm good to go. There's only one bag left anyway.
That's Bernice Sampson. She's the first person I meet at this community fridge in downtown Toronto. Outdoor fridges like these began to pop up across the city when the pandemic began.
Thank you, thank you.
The idea is as simple as the motto. Take what you need, leave what you can. But at the moment, these fridges are empty.
If I need bread or eggs or something, if there's something, I just take one or two things. I'm on a pension, a fixed income, and, everything's very expensive now in the stores.
Diane Hansen is one of the many people who come here every day in the hope of finding some food. The reality is, with COVID, it's been a hard year for people financially. Makes me wonder, can something as simple as a few outdoor fridges really make a difference?
Well, if there's lots of food in there, it feels good, but sometimes there's certain people come here and they bring their shopping carts, they clean it all out. They don't leave nothing for anyone else. I think that's very rude. Sometimes I grab things and give to my neighbors that don't have anything.
As I talk with Diane, food arrives.
I got some shrimps, but they're frozen, so you gotta put them in the freezer.
I'm gonna cook those right now.
Yeah. Well, they don't take it all.
Coconut oil? Sure, that's good stuff. Put it on your skin.
Oh, yeah, I need the onions.
Can I have an apple?
Bless you. Thanks.
The person who just stocked the fridges is Catherine Aaron. She lives nearby and brings food as often as she can.
Oh, that's always good, honey. One light food here. With me and you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you very much.
I just dropped off whatever I had that I wasn't using, and it all gets taken like within 5 minutes. 5-10 minutes, it always goes. I came this morning, everything was empty. There wasn't a single thing left in here. And I stocked it full, and I'm pretty sure it's empty already again.
For Catherine, helping comes naturally. She's a frontline nurse who's worked through the pandemic, and she cares about her neighborhood.
I know these people. I see them on the streets. I see them struggling. I see them begging, sleeping on the sidewalk. And they're my family. They're my brothers and sisters. They're my friends. And why wouldn't I want to help them if I could?
Got a box of breaded shrimp. There ain't no more breaded shrimp. They're gonna go in my stomach in a while when I go home. It's awesome. Yeah, someone wants to give back something to the community. So it feels good to know that people are doing that for the community. Not only for me, for the kids, for the old ones, for people that don't have nothing.
This doesn't just happen right here. There are 8 locations with fridges scattered across the city. Most of them are in front of businesses. Volunteers bring food and clean them, but there's no set schedule. Food arrives when food arrives. Take this fridge in front of Jake Silva's ice-making business. Jake helped set it up, and now he stocks it throughout the week.
We've seen a lot of people come on a daily basis, a lot of the same people coming, and you know, we can see definitely a need, you know, in the community for food. We've been operating our business in this neighborhood for over 40 years.
It's a good neighborhood.
It is a good neighborhood.
I grew up in this neighborhood.
And it's really important for us to find ways to give back. What'd you get?
A couple of milks and some cheese.
Sir, let me ask you this. Why do you come here?
Because I got no work, barely enough to survive, and this helps. This helps me get through the day and the month, and the year, and the week.
It's one thing to hear about people's struggles over the last year with the pandemic.
Hey, for the food again.
And how it's hurt low-income Canadians the most. But when I spend time at the fridges, I see it firsthand over and over again.
I got a tomato and I got spinach. I can make a salad. They're expensive.
Patricia Reed is 80, retired, and lives on a fixed income. She's here because she needs to save money.
I have to pay $4,000 for my tooth implants, and I'll give up food for that because teeth are really important in health. I have to really give my food money away to that. I figure I got another 20 more years on this life, and I sure as heck I'm not going to waste it.
Patricia wants people to know that the fridges make a difference in her life.
I just would say thank you so much. You have eased my life. You know, that's what they've done. And I couldn't imagine somebody being so kind. I get really worked up about that. But it's given to me, I don't have to go and bake. You know, I don't want to bake.
If that were the only thing that these community fridges accomplish, I'd say that's pretty big. Nick Purdon, CBC News, Toronto.
And we have an update since that first ran back in May. A viewer saw it and launched a GoFundMe to raise the $4,000 for Patricia's dental implants. It raised $6,500 for Patricia. Help is on its way in a different form in Montreal.
Oh my God, are you Batman?
A man comes to the rescue of kids who are bullied. His heroic adventure is our moment. Next. Batman has left Gotham and he's landed in Montreal. Mahmoud Al-Dara is a former professional bodybuilder. Now, in addition to lifting weights, he's decided to start lifting spirits. And he's playing superhero to local kids. That's our moment.
I'm a professional bodybuilder. I retired this year. I made a post on this Facebook group, you know, hey guys, I'm a retired professional athlete. I'm doing this free service for children with special needs. I thought, honestly, people would kind of laugh at the idea, but the comments were really positive. Next thing, I started getting emails. I guess this whole started in 2014 when my son, he was getting bullied, and I visited him at daycare dressed as Spider-Man. And the bullying stopped. So I just figured, why don't I do this full scale? Basically, I actually start next week. child with special needs, it's his birthday, said, I will show up at your house revving my car. Then I would step out of the car fully dressed in Batman. And then I guess that's when the kids get really excited. And that's when I go in and I see the kids and all that. Maybe this would encourage, children to be positive and aspire to do great things when they grow up.
So a few things. First of all, crazy arms, like that is just astounding. Secondly, it's good that he's using his powers for good. Imagine the kids who are the bullies and all of a sudden they see him pull up just in the car alone. It's pretty cool. But then when he intervenes, the final thing is, I wonder if he skates, because the Habs could kind of use a superhero tomorrow night. We'll see how that goes. That is the National for July 4th. Good night.